The short limgrave grass, the starting area grass, doesn't get much more simple than this. It's basic, it's simple, and most importantly, it's safe. Now, you might think that the short grass is just outclassed by the long grass, but the thing is, one thing to keep in mind is that when there's short grass, that means there is animals nearby consuming said grass. So therefore, it is in fact extremely safe. Whereas for the longer grass, a lack of wildlife, therefore more imminent danger. So pretty simple, B tier. Now, in terms of the longer grass, obviously, as I mentioned, it's not going to be as safe, but obviously it does look a lot more luscious. It looks more fun to play in. So depending on your build, might be dependent on which grass that you actually do prefer. Now, for most builds, you're going to be powerful enough to be able to like stand in the regular tall grass. But the thing is, other thing to keep in mind is that this grass actually has been reused and reskinned throughout a lot of the game. I think A tier minimum. Caelid grass. Now, Caelid grass is obviously very unique. Got that weird brownish tinge to it. Does look very interesting. Has some like weird patches in between. Now, the thing is, as we're talking about with the limgrave grass, obviously these ones look very safe. This one doesn't look safe, but that's a good thing. It wears the fact that it's not safe because you're in a location to where it's not very safe. So therefore, it is a nice warning. You just go walk in, you take a look down, you look at your feet, look at the grass, and be like, maybe we shouldn't be here right now. I still think probably a lower B tier because it's not that appetizing. Oh, is this the Moonlight Altar grass? Oh, this is the simping grass. If you take a single step in the Moonlight Altar, 100% you're a simp. Now, with that being said, the grass does look very nice. The blue little flowers does add actually a nice little touch to it. Now, you could say that the blue flowers might be outclassed by some of the DLC grass you see later in the game, but this one obviously is accessible way earlier on, so it does have its own specific use. Not a Rani fan. C tier. Next, Altus Plateau. Now, a lot of people tend to prefer Altus Plateau aesthetically speaking, even though it's just like a reskinned limgrave. Like, Altus Plateau is just yellow limgrave, but it's like, oh, it's yellow, therefore it looks a bit different. There's like a big tree in the background. It looks interesting. No, it looks dead. Look at it. It's yellow. It's dying. And it's obvious as to why this is happening because the Erd tree in the background is sucking up all the nutrients from the grass. It's killing the grass. This has to be a D tier. It's all propaganda. The grass is dying because of the Erd tree. D tier. Get him up out of here. This is Leona of the Lakes. Okay, so Leona of the Lakes, it's not even a lake, it's a swamp. Why do they call it Leona of the Lakes if it's a swamp? Give it the IGN. Too much water. Honestly, that's still a valid take though. Do you know what's funny? Like, a lot of people actually complain about the DLC having big, large, empty areas. But then, like, Leona of the Lakes exists, which is arguably, like, the most egregious offense of just a big, large, empty area. No. Man, it's not even a lake. D tier. Get him up out of here. Next. This is the War Master Shaka grass. Okay. Obviously, my buddy pal Bernal, little cutie patootie, started planting some flowers. Cute little orange ones. I don't know exactly what they are. You add a little bit more to the limgrave grass. Have some little bit of flavor to it. Now, it might still be outclassed by some of the DLC types of grass, but that's okay. Like, for a starting area grass, it's going to help carry you throughout the entire base game. So, I can respect this. This is a solid A tier. Mogwin's Palace grass. Now, you can tell that it's Mogwin's grass because it's blood. It has blood in there. There's blood spots. Basically, the entirety of Mogwin's Palace is just like, okay, we're going to reskin everything that we've seen from the beginning of the game, but just make it red instead. Now, red is a nice color, but reskinning, pretty cringe. Like, every single enemy you've already fought earlier in the game, even the boss there is like something you fought earlier in the game, just even more red. That's the entire thing. Now, the thing is, one thing that I don't understand is that the grass is very short. Somebody has to be mowing this lawn every single day, and there is still bloodstains on there. Something is not right in this area. Who knows what's going on? Stay tier. Mountaintops grass. Now, you can tell that it's the mountaintop grass because it's white, which basically the same thing as Mogwin's Palace grass. It's the same thing. It's a reskin, but this time it's just white instead. They're just whitewashing all the characters. I'm not going to make that joke. Actually, I might make that joke. It's basically just like what Disney is doing, but just the opposite. D tier. Get him up out of here. Okay, Lake of Rot. Okay, now this is not even grass. These kind of look like gummy worms. I like that. I can respect that. I wonder what they taste like. Chat, what would the Lake of Rot grass taste like? A tier. Next, oh, we're getting into some premium territory, chat. The Noxtella grass. Oh, look at that right there. Look at the color and the texture of that grass. The nice fluorescent glow to it. Oh, It looks like if you go ahead and smoke that bad boy, you'll be like taking your goldfish for a walk or some shit. That's an S tier right there. Deeper depth grass. It has like the weird white milk. Chat, what do you think the white milk tastes like? There are like some little like lily pads here. Therefore, there might be some frogs. But we didn't see any frogs. Everyone knows if there's lily pads, there has to be frogs. False advertising C tier. This is Farum Azula. Okay, so Farum Azula grass. This shit looks dead. I don't even know how it's even like still there. Like there should be no grass at all. This thing is like 25,000 feet up in the air. Everything seems like it's dead. It's all just dark and gray. This is basically the Dark Souls 3 of grass. And Dark Souls 3 is based. And then holy fucking shit, Chainsaw, what the heck? Chainsaw with the 100 gifted subs. I should do a grass tier list every single day. What the fuck? Okay, the Haligtree grass. Okay, the Haligtree grass is actually very unique looking because there's actually lots of fallen leaves. The autumn grass, if you will. Or fall. Why would you guys call it fall when autumn is such a better sounding name? It's fall. Anyway, the autumn grass with the fallen leaves. I appreciate the aesthetic. One thing that I actually would have liked is that if the grass was actually interactable, so it actually had its own like ragdoll effects, you know what I'm saying? So like you can go touch the grass and the leaves and they start like flying around everywhere, or use your skills and like it just starts to scatter around all the different leaves. That would have been really cool. Maybe in their next game when they have like a new engine. So I feel like it's more of a missed opportunity if anything. It's cool, nice aesthetic. I'll probably put it into the high B tier because I feel like they could have done better. Okay, and so now this is the Altus Plateau grass, but it has lightning, therefore it's cooler. So as you said with the Altus Plateau grass, basically just propaganda grass. It's dying, but it's marketed as like cooler grass because it's a different shade. But lightning is cool. S tier. DLC. Oh, look how many heavy hitters there are. Oh, if anybody ever tells you that the DLC is not good, look at the grass and tell me that this isn't Game of the Year material right here. Everyone's like, ugh, the DLC is too empty. Ugh, the bosses are kind of shit. The boss weapons are not good enough. Look at the grass, though. Starting off with the Gravesite Plain Grass. Oh, look how beautiful it looks. The grain and the wheat with the cool, like, I don't know, ghost gravestones. I still don't even know the lore behind this stuff, but it looks cool. Now, you might consider it to be somewhat outclassed and reskinned by the Sekiro grass, because Sekiro also did, you know, have this type of aesthetic of grass, and obviously Sekiro invented grain and wheat. So obviously, if you were to implement it into Elden Ring, it would just be a shameless ripoff. But it actually does have enough unique effects to it that make it actually seem like it's its own. And it's like a reimagining of great grass from the past. So I think this one is deserving of the S tier. Probably a lower S tier. Abyssal Woods grass. Now this one is just fantastic. Obviously it doesn't really seem as safe because obviously it's not going to be a safe area. It's a bit more dark when it actually comes to the grass itself. But the fluorescent flowers actually give it somewhat more of an ominous touch, especially with like the yellow and orangey tinge to it, which obviously are matching up with the characters or enemies in this location. I think actually maybe one major downside of the Abyssal Woods grass is that you see so much of it and there's nothing really there. You spend a lot of time just looking at the grass and you might be a bit too overly critical about it because there's no enemies to really look at or no like items to really try and grab. So maybe for that reason you might put it a bit lower, but it has its niche uses, I guess. Okay, the Jagged Peak grass. Well, this is more like the this is Bale's Arena in particular. These are just more flower. This is not even a grass tier list. It's like a flower tier list now. But it's red, so therefore it is peak. Okay, so now this is the Skibbity Altus grass. Okay, so this is the same thing as when it comes to the base game. It's like you have Limgrave and then you have the yellow Limgrave. This is the same thing. This is just the yellow Gravesite Plain. Same types of wheat, same length, same density of grass, but it's just yellow. And it's kind of, it's like a different shade of yellow. This one seems a bit more radioactive because obviously, as you can tell, the effects of the Shadow Tree, it's just sucking up the nutrients and it's contaminating the grass. But now the thing is, the Shadow Tree actually doesn't try to hide the fact that it's dangerous. It just helps portray the grass to be a bit more dead, but I can respect that. A tier. What's this? The Shaman Village grass. Okay, this is the same thing. It's like a flower tier list. It's not even a grass tier list anymore. Look at that. Look at all the pretty colors. Cannot believe From Software actually know to implement multiple different colors. It's like they save all their like interesting ideas for the DLC. Look how much better the DLC is compared to the base game. Clearly, the DLC is just a much better game. Much better game. Oh, and the two heavy hitters for the end. The Charin Grave grass. I don't know what the fuck the location's called. And the Cerulean Coast grass. Chat, which side are you on? Bloods or red or the blue one? I'm a fan of the color red, but like the thing is, obviously both of these are S tier because look at the length, the density. It still has like enough gaps to it to where it feels like every single blade of grass does have its own like unique feature to it, and it feels very valuable. Now the thing is, you might look at them individually and be like, okay, these are just solid S tier. But one thing to keep in mind is that when you actually are in the Charon Grave area, you're going to be much higher up where it's red, and you look over the cliff and you actually see the Cerulean Coast. You actually see the contrast between the blue and the red while in one location. This obviously just makes it so much better. As a whole, like the build synergy between the red and the blue grass make them a lot better. Like individually, S tier. But honestly, we should just brand new row. Broken tier list. This is broken. It just adds so much more towards the build creation when you actually have them together. I like this list. It doesn't get much better than this. This is definitively the only grass tier list to ever be made. Any other grass tier list afterwards would just be incorrect because it's not mine. Confirmed Shadow of the Erdtree is better than the base game because the grass is better. Anybody that ever says something bad about Shadow of the Erdtree, just let them know. Look at the grass.